Hello, everyone. We want to take this opportunity to say thank you. As you grow at the Golden Boot, so do our needs, but we cannot do it without you. We ask that you continue to like our posts, share our content, and subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, and other social media platforms. You may also visit thegoldenboot.com for the latest merch. If you would like to make a financial donation, you can do so through Cash App at @GoldenBoot or through PayPal at paypal.me/GoldenBoot. We look forward to bringing you more laughs, knowledge, and entertainment. And again, thank you for your endless support. Sincerely and respectfully, the Golden Boot team.
The views and opinions expressed in the Golden Boot podcast are those of the speaker and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of the Golden Boot podcast as a whole.
Y'all ready to get rolling? Quiet on the set. Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Golden Boot. It's your boy Pooh Bear. I got my man Aunt Petty Murphy in the building. What's good, my boy? How you doing on this fine Wednesday evening?
We're not gonna talk about that. We're not gonna get into all that. I'm good though, bro. I'm good.
I feel you, man. I feel you. I gotta apologize.
Me too.
I was supposed to open the show with something else.
No.
Time after time. I was gonna play that Queen. We are the champions, my friend. I was gonna play the remix though, Kanye. Oh, we got the producer on here. We got the producer. Yeah, man.
You can play that Drake and Future. That big rings.
Mm-hmm.
Big rings.
We got some really big. It'll be on the TikTok. It'll be on there when we talk about it. But shout out to everybody in the chat, man. Well, you know what I'm saying? We missed y'all. I had to take a trip, man, for the family, man. But I did watch the championship game on the beach. I'll say that. My feet in the sand, at least the first half.
So I'll be completely transparent. I was in my mentor program, during the game. So I was watching, but I wasn't like full attentive. So I went back and watched it later that night. And then Monday, during the men's championship game, I watched the women's championship game. Because that game
Don't blame.
So I've seen it 4 times now, 3 times with full attention, and then one other time, watching but kind of, directing at the same time.
I feel, but it's all good. We here, y'all see us. Now you don't. But anyway, we back in this thing. What's good, Josh? Josh in the building. Said, "What's up, fellas?" He says, "102." What's 102? What you talking about? What you talking about?
I know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about?
I don't know what you're talking about.
102. That's how many points the Tigers put up on that board. Sunday.
They put up 102 points.
Yes, sir.
In the game, they did.
Yes, sir.
That'll win a championship. You do something like that. But what's up, Julian? Our good man. Julian checked in on young Ichiro, man. Young Ichiro had his first game yesterday, baseball game. It was
how he did.
That boy looked good. I'm gonna tell you that. He was looking good out there. He
got half of him down, look good, play good. He got half of him.
He took Jason shades. Jason got track shades, got the boy. Hey, I'm about to post a picture. He had I sent you, I think I sent you, but he was standing out there and he was mad because his football number is 6. But somebody else got number 6, so he wore number 5. I was like, "What? Your dad was number 5 in high school?" He was like, "I guess it's okay."
But I still want 6. But
I want my 6. He told somebody, he was like, "I'm getting 6 next game." I'm like, "Nah, that's your number. That's your number." Nick say, "What's up, LSU, LSU, LSU?" That's what I'm talking about. He said he was on the way to WrestleMania,
yeah,
but he
my guy
watched
was
on his
in the
phone.
building.
That's what's up, man. Power slamming. Julian said he's still hurting from Saturday. Ooh, Saturday was ugly for y'all. It was. But Julian did say something very interesting.
Thing everybody else does too, so don't take it too personal.
So, and what was it, June 2017? I think that was. Hold on, let me pull it up because Julian sent something. I was like, "Yo, that's crazy."
Yeah,
So
it was 2017 whenever UConn didn't lose a non-conference game when Kemba Walker won the championship, and this year they didn't lose a non-conference game either.
no, it wasn't even that. It was
Okay.
something. It was. This was different. This was. I'm finna tell you. I'm pulling it up. So it wasn't 27. It was 2022. I'm tripping. 2022. Miami's women basketball team lost to South Carolina in the round of 32. The men, and the men lost to Kansas in the Elite 8. Kansas men won the NCAA tournament, and South Carolina women won the NCAA. In 2023, Miami lost to LSU in the Elite 8. Miami lost to UConn in the Final Four. LSU won the women's, and UConn won the.
Yeah, I thought he was talking about the fact that the last time UConn won a national championship, well, not the last time they won a national championship, but one of their previous championships, they didn't lose a non-conference game, just like this year they didn't lose a non-conference game. But while we on this topic of UConn, I know this ain't in the notes or nothing, but Carter mentioned it, and my boy Fox mentioned it yesterday whenever we was on.
Mm-hmm.
The similarities between UConn and LSU. UConn men's basketball, LSU football. Both teams have the most national championships, or the second most national championships, my bad, in the last 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
You got UConn with 5. That's more than Kansas has as a program in general. That's only behind. They're tied with Duke and Indiana, and they're only behind North Carolina and UCLA in terms of championship, and Kentucky in terms of championships. And so they're not considered a blue blood, but yet they won national championships with 3 consecutive coaches, all within the last 25 years. LSU, second most national championships in the last 25 years. Also won national championships with 3 consecutive coaches, yet neither program are considered quote-unquote blue bloods because their success has been more recent. But yet, if you look over the last 25 years or so, I think you have to say both of them have been blue bloods in the recent years. So I think Fox used the term new blood. I guess you could kind of consider both of these programs a new blood. You know what I mean? But, I mean, if you consider, let's take Indiana in basketball. Obviously, UConn has done more recently than Indiana, but Indiana is considered a blue blood. If you take football, Nebraska, LSU has done more than Nebraska, but they're considered a blue blood. So, I mean, I think you just kind of got to, we as fans kind of got to put like a time limit on it, or maybe kind of go back and revisit after a certain period of time of who is still a blue blood, and you know what I mean, who was a old blood, and who is a blue blood, and who's a new blood in the sense.
I like that idea. I like that. That makes sense.
Shout out to our guy George though.
Yeah, George said, he said, "What up? Finally found your site. Appreciate you, George.
Appreciate you for tuning in, my guy."
Yeah, we try to be all over the place, George. We try.
Sometimes we go too far.
We do. Zay say, "What's up, fellas? What's good, Zay?" He said Nick sold his soul for the WrestleMania ticket. So
probably did.
Yeah. Chris say Aunt famous now.
Hey, chill out, bro.
Why you famous, Aunt?
Chill out.
You was on news or something?
Nah. He talking about that post.
Oh, yeah. But hey, like you know, what I'm saying, do want to start off. You know, what I'm saying we already know, everybody know. Congrats on LSU women winning the first basketball natty in LSU history, men's or women's. We talked about it when Kim Mulkey was hired. How long would it take? I have to give Daniel.
Yeah.
Got to give Daniel credit. He said at the beginning, he said this is gonna be the year.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, Chris kind of said that as well. So you know, so I want to give them credit, but you know, I'm not gonna say we didn't believe it. I hoped, but I just thought South Carolina was gonna do it. So
Yeah, I didn't know if we had the depth this year, but when you get performances like Jasmine Carson's, you know, whenever you get
oh yeah,
Asia Williams stepping up the way she did, I mean, and like I said all year, Alexis Morris is gonna take this team as far as they can go, and without her closing that game out like that, you don't have a national championship. So.
yeah. Chris said he said next year. So
Yeah, that's
okay,
the same. I said the same thing, Chris. And they might never mind.
They could.
Can we go there? Can we go
Let's
there?
talk. We talk about
who you losing. Who you lose? Tell me who you lose.
you're losing Alexis Morris. You're losing Carson. You're losing
Mhm.
LaDasia.
All right,
Williams.
So check this out.
Mm-hmm.
Who you got coming in? You got
Michaela.
No one player in the country, Michaela, who
You
can
got,
slide right into that Jasmine Carson role.
You got
Aliyah coming in who can slide into LaDacia's role, and then there's someone in the transfer portal.
Mm-hmm.
Someone who was an All-American at Maryland. Someone who Angel Reese has mentioned a few times lately, especially after the Virginia Tech game. So Ashley Owusu was in Maryland with Angel Reese.
Right.
She transferred to Virginia Tech, started for Virginia Tech for like 17 games, I believe, got hurt. And when she came back, she never started again. And she's in the transfer portal. She only has 1 year left. However, she could fill that Alexis Morris role of the closer, scorer, can create her own shot role. Mm-hmm. And you can have her be the primary ball handler this next season while Michaela, you know, kind of acclimates to the college game. And then once Owusu leaves, Michaela is ready to take over as the next point guard. So I'm just saying, I'm not saying she's coming. I have a great feeling about it, but I'm not saying she's coming. But if she were to come, you just replaced all your production that you just lost. And that doesn't include the other freshmen you have coming in or anybody else that you possibly get in the transfer portal.
Yeah. I want to talk about that since you brought that up. Carson, Poa, Samaya Smith. Late in the first half, you had I will arguably say Alicia Big 2, possibly 3, got benched with 2 fouls, meaning Angel Reese, Alexis Morris, and LaDasia. If I'm not mistaken, wasn't it LaDasia?
LaDasia played a lot of the first half.
No, LaDasia played the entire game. It wasn't LaDasia.
Yeah,
it was God, who was it? It wasn't Poole. I forget, but somebody else sat. So yeah, in comes Jasmine Carson, who was the starter for most of the year, and Kim, Coach Mulkey actually moved her to the bench because she said that she gives them a little bit more size coming off the bench to help out. So you had Jasmine Carson come in, you had Poa come in, and then you had Samaya Smith. And Carson went lights out bananas. She was on fire.
Game of her life.
She was shooting threes from spots on the court that people didn't know existed. She was finding places. Everybody was talking about Caitlin Clark and how good she can shoot. And Carson said, "Hey, hold my boba tea." Maybe it ain't Bill. She just hold my boba tea. And she was lighting that thing up. And then Poe was like, hey, I want in on this. And she was making threes. And then when the ball would bounce off the rim, Samaya Smith was like, give me that. Let me get that rebound. And this team went on a run in that end of that first half, and the game was never in doubt again.
Yeah. I said, so one thing I noticed about this game was, even though we got an early foul trouble with, those two players you mentioned, the referees allowed this game to be more physical than they allowed South Carolina to get wild. And I know we'll talk about that later on, but maybe not today, but we'll talk about that later on. But I think that played into LSU's hands a lot, because I think they were the more physical team. And I think, especially on the boards, whenever you're able to attack like that on the boards and have a rebounding advantage like that, I think that's what let them get off to that early lead. And because LSU was so good defensively, they were so good defensively the other night, that, there was really nothing you could do. I know Caitlin Clark went for 30. I know she went for 30, and I'm not taking nothing away from her, but she made 1 2-point shot.
Period.
And that was the very end of the game when she let the ball up. So, I know she has range, and not denying that at all. She could pull up from anywhere. But she worked for every one of those. You know what I mean? Like, she wasn't just scoring at will whenever she wanted. She was Alexis and whoever was guarding her made her work for it. And so I think the physicality LSU was able to play with played into the advantage, allowed them to get an early lead. And I was not really, like, if you look at the Iowa South Carolina game, Iowa was watching from the beginning. Iowa was winning from the beginning. They never really had to play catch up. And whenever you're going up against a team that rebounds as good as LSU, which means they're going to get extra possessions, it's hard for you to play from behind like that. And so I think that it just worked out perfectly for LSU. LSU kept their foot on the throat. I know Iowa made a little comeback in the third quarter, but once Alexis got going in the fourth, that was over with. And so, it was just really, honestly, it was the perfect game plan for LSU, and they executed it perfectly. I know you don't want Alexis and Angel getting in foul trouble, but if you did have to have that happen, you couldn't script anything better before Alexis Morris, Jasmine Carson come in for Alexis and go perfect from the field in the first half. And like you said, Samaya and everybody else who stepped up in their absence.
Flage. That's who the other person got. Yeah.
The first possession of the game hits a corner three and lets you know, hey, you can't guard us like you guarded South Carolina.
Yeah, she actually had, if I'm not mistaken, she had like 2 or 3 turnovers to start the game. Coach Smokey called that timeout and was like, hey, basically, what I'm saying, let them know, that ain't gonna cut it. Get with it. And LSU went on a run. They never, that game was never, LSU was within, if I'm not mistaken, they was within 4 or 6 points the entire game. And like Dave Irvin said, it was never really close. Because once LSU took a lead, it was over.
Yeah, it was over with. That's what I'm saying. And then they got the lead. And then, like, when you got Angel Reese and LaDeja down low getting all them offensive rebounds, they're going to get points almost every possession. So how do you get stops to cut into a lead like that? It's almost, you can't do it.
So I do want Boy said any men's basketball news. We're gonna get there, but we're gonna talk about them champs first. We're gonna get there though. Dave, man,
2 offensive fouls.
Shout out. He said Poe made a couple of huge shots and got Clark on a big offensive foul. Listen,
yeah, she had 2 push-offs.
Yeah, 2 of them. Poe was in her head. And much credit to Alexis Morris. Poe was in her head because as soon as she got close, Poe, as a matter of fact, it was they called another foul, and it was a push off, but they called a different foul on LSU right before the push off, and the ref saw it, and then they came back and Poe got right back in Clark's face, and Clark pushed off again. They called it, and then from there on, it was like, okay, all right, we serious. and
Yep.
put him
And
in fire trouble.
LSU did a great job in making Clark beat them. Nobody else from Iowa really had a big name.
We talked. For those of you who don't know, my oldest son, Jay Sean, he runs track, plays football, runs track. We were down in Mobile for the Challenger Champions track meet. And first of all, I want to say, and I told you about it. I want to let y'all know in the car, y'all boys fast. Y'all boys got some speed on y'all that I ain't seen. Listen, first of all, as fast as y'all was running, if they had caught y'all on I-10, they probably would have threw y'all in jail for excessive driving, what they call it, you know what I'm saying, excessive speeds and stuff. That them boys was flying. But back to at hand. So one of Jay Sean's teammates was with us. He stayed with us and stuff. And we were talking about it. He was like, man, Caitlin, talking about it on Saturday. He was like, man, Caitlin Clark, saying she good, man. How you stop her? I said, you do one or two things. You either make her score all the points, or you try to shut her down and make everybody else score. And I think LSU did hey, we gonna guard you and stuff, but we're not gonna let anybody else beat us. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I don't think you can shut her down.
Exactly.
I think the only game plan is to make her beat you by herself.
Yeah, and see, and when I said that, that's how you play. If you look at like a team, Golden State, for instance. Well, Golden State has other shooters, but for the most part,
Luka, with Dallas, that's how you beat Dallas in the past.
Yeah.
With Luka, you make
James Harden.
You make Luka score 60, you make them score 50 a game to beat you. And the same with Caitlin Clark. You're gonna have to go for 50. And even if she would have went for 50, they wouldn't have won. You know what I mean? It's just the way to. And real quick, LSU did something different from South Carolina. South Carolina tried to deny her the ball on the out of bounds pass. And they tried to force the ball to someone else. What that allowed was Caitlin Clark, since she knows she's not catching the initial pass, she just takes off sprinting up the court. And now she gets the pass from whoever did get the inbound, and she gets the ball running full speed down the court. LSU played it different. They let her get the inbound. Now I'm just going to D you up all 94 feet and make you work that much harder for every basket. And so South Carolina didn't make her play defense. Oh, you got to play defense on this end, big dog. Yeah. And so that takes your legs out as well. You're not allowed to just sit in the paint and help all day. So LSU had the perfect game plan. Shout out to Mocha and her staff for coming up with that and executing to the perfect.
Bingo. Somebody did it. They said, man, Kevin Garnett. He was like, man, shout out to whoever came up with this, with the scouting report and stuff. And it was Coach Sark. Yeah. He was like, man, hey, it means a lot. Truly appreciate it. When you got somebody who been around the game that long, you gonna learn some stuff. You are going to have those, that game. There's nothing you haven't seen. Yeah. I guarantee you, there's nothing you haven't seen. So even when Larry Bird daughter come in there and tries to shoot the light side, you know what I'm saying? You know how to handle that. So shout out to Booster, man. Booster said, get Larry Bird, come get your daughter. Come get your daughter.
Yeah.
But this team accomplished so much this year. Let's point out something.
In a year early. And that's according to Kim Mo. I'm just saying. She said it, not me.
So in her second year, Kim Mulkey finally has won out and brought LSU their first title. You had the most SEC wins in a season. I looked it up. I thought it was the most wins in a season by LSU, but it wasn't. So when LSU was I forget when it was like the 70s when they were quote unquote independent, they won like 37 games one year.
Dang, that's a lot of games.
Yeah, they were like 37-1, something like that. So it's crazy. Most SEC wins in a season. Of course, with Angel Reese, the most double doubles for LSU, or most consecutive double doubles for LSU, most double doubles for LSU, most double doubles in the SEC, and the most double doubles in the NCAA with 34. and she did it and she eclipsed that in that final game. You had
So she had a double in all but 2 games, if I'm not
all but
mistaken.
2 games, exactly. And
You know
those
what
were
2 games that are?
2 games they lost.
Bingo.
You had the SEC Freshman of the Year.
Flage, shout out.
You had 2 SEC All Freshman selections in Flage and Samaya Smith.
Mm-hmm.
You had 2 first team All SEC selections in Alexis Morris and Angel Reese. You had 1 defense all SEC All Defensive selection in Angel Reese, and you had 1 NCAA tournament. It used I guess they don't do. They used to call it the MOP, the most outstanding player. I guess they're back to the MVP now. So yeah, so man,
Crazy.
What an accomplishment.
2 seasons ago, they had 9 wins.
They've gone to the tournament back to back years. Kim Mulkey in her introductory press conference says, "I look up in these rafters and I see a lot of Final Fours. I don't see any national
Final Four.
I'm gonna make sure this. Yeah, I'm gonna make sure that we get one that say national championship.
Hey, and I will say this though. While we on it, shout out to Maria Taylor for from ESPN for
thank you
for making sure Simone Augustus got an opportunity to soak all this in, rightfully soak all this in as she, I was trailblazer for the program, legend, all time great for the program. She should have been on the court, and shout out to Maria Taylor for giving her that opportunity since the security wasn't gonna let her on the court.
Just dumb.
Yeah, but and to see the way the players, you know what I mean, Angel Reese coming over and showing her love, and all the other players showing her love, because I know it meant something to Simone. And obviously, she wasn't a part of it, but she was a part of it in a way. You know what I mean, just by the connection and relationship she has with this team. So I was glad to see that.
Big shout out to them. We talked about the game, man, and you briefly mentioned it, but I want to touch on this. I want to go in a little bit deeper. Alexis Morris in the 4th quarter.
Lex Luthor.
All season, since we've been talking about this, somebody on this show has been saying this team will go as far as Alexis Morris takes them.
Yep.
Do you have any idea who said that?
I don't know. He must be a smart guy, though.
Tell me about that, though. You've been saying it all season. It ain't no secret. You've been saying it all season. This team will go as far as Alexis Morris takes them.
Yeah, and I got a lot of heat originally when I said that. Everybody, Angel Reese is the best player on the team. I know that, and I'm not.
That wasn't the argument.
That wasn't the point. The point was Angel Reese is a forward, and as great as she is, forwards don't close out ball games.
She's not a point forward either.
She's not a forward. Yeah, she's a true forward. And so what you saw Sunday in the 4th quarter was why I've said Alexis Morris will take this team as far as they can go. You have to be a championship caliber team, and to be a championship winning team, you have to have someone who can control and manage the game. And whenever you have a lead, someone who can bleed the clock, make sure you get a great shot every time, and someone who can, like Jerome said, close the game out for you. And what you saw time and time again was Alexis dribbling the ball out near half court, waiting till about 8-9 seconds left on the clock, using the pick and roll with Reese or with LaDeja, and getting a quality shot every time. And there was plenty of times where she could have went and got a quick shot, but that's not what they needed. And to win in March, win in April, whatever you want to call it, to win in the tournament, you have to have guards. And you saw that Sunday. In the first half, it was Jasmine Carson stretching the floor from 3, giving you an outside presence to make Iowa defend the whole court. You have to have that. That allowed Angel Reese and LaDeja to work inside. And in the second half, you had Alexis. Although the 3rd quarter, she didn't score a lot. The 3rd quarter,
2 points.
She was managing the game. She was getting everybody else. She only has like 2 points.
I think she had 4 points. She had 4
pretty
points.
Much everything in the 4th quarter. But She in the third quarter, she was just facilitating. She was getting everybody else and keeping the lead where it needed to be. And in the fourth quarter, she was like, "Y'all, I got this. Y'all just get out the way." And that's why I said Alexis Morris will take this team as far as she go. Because we've seen her throughout the season have moments where she doesn't play at her full potential. She can kind of be in her head sometimes and take herself out of her game. But when Alexis Morris is on, like she was Sunday, she's capable of leading you to a national championship, and that she showed that Sunday.
If I'm not mistaken, it was the Arkansas game where she was having a bad game, and LSU almost lost that game. Angel Reese went to her,
the end of the
talked
game.
to her, and it changed. That changed the dynamic of it.
Is that the game that she didn't start?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's the game she didn't start, but I do remember that game, and then she turned it on like after her and Angel Reese and Alexis had that heart to heart on the court. Changed from there.
Mr. Como said point guards equal quarterbacks. To a certain extent, yeah. You know what I mean? You need that quarterback that can not only do the 2-minute drill and whenever you from behind, making sure you get good plays and maximizing the time you have left to mount the comeback, but you also need the quarterback that whenever you up 10 in the fourth quarter can bleed the clock down to 2 seconds on the play clock before he makes the snap. You know what I mean? And things like that keep you ahead of the chains and bleed as much clock as possible.
That's another thing.
That's a great example, Mr. Como.
That's another thing that did. You can see the maturity and the intelligence in the fourth quarter of Alexis. She drove down, she would get to the rim and pull back out and kill more clock.
Yeah.
So I want to point something out. First game of the season against Bellarmine. They scored 125. That was the opening of the regular season. The first game of the season they bust 100. The last game I was driving back and I remember telling I said they finna bust 100.
And what's crazy is they did it on the 3-pointer. By who?
Alexis Morris.
No, don't
Zay,
do that. Don't. We're not doing that, Zay.
He said she grew.
Nah, big dog.
Yeah.
Nah, big dog. I get what you're saying, but nah, big dog. Nah, she got a ring. She can't beat him.
Oh, she said she greater than him.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
He said she greater than CP3. He said basically. He said I'm assuming he said I don't like CP3, so it's valid to me.
Yes, I mean she is. She got a ring, so you're right.
This was
it's a great point.
Marseille. He said I think it was Marzavia. He said LSU was just a complete team. They had the veteran point guard, the defensive anchor, the bench, and the coach, which is ironic because after the South Carolina game, we kept saying they need to improve on the bench. They need to get more depth.
Well, they did in a sense by sliding Jalen Carson.
That's true. That's true. You know what? I'm gonna tell you somebody else who don't get as much credit. And George said something about her earlier.
Poole.
Kateri Poole. He said Poole is my favorite, 55. So Poole is a player that she didn't score a lot of points during the tournament. She was scoring shots, 8, 5, you know what I'm saying? But not just that, she would have steals, 2 or 3 steals a game. She have a timely rebound. If I'm not mistaken, it was it Michigan or Utah?
That was Utah, if I'm not mistaken.
The big technical she picked, you know what I'm saying? The girl pushed her, she got the big technical. That was Poole played her role, and
I was just about to say that.
And she stepped up big time, man.
You got a lot of them on this team. You got Poole, you got Letty Poole, you know what I mean? You got Samai Smith. Even the jump ball possession was huge. Yeah, Samai. I mean, I know she gets a lot of attention and notoriety, but Flage is more of a role player then you know what I mean. Then I know her
Yeah,
star
she is.
status is bigger than that. But on the court, she's a defender. She ain't scared to to dive on the floor, make dirt, make the dirty plays, so to speak. And she's big time shot maker when she needs to be. And Poole was the one who made the three that made Kim Mulkey start crying because it was pretty much like, yeah, that's ball game at this point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a wrap. So I think it was kind of fitting that she was the one to hit it, that three, to kind of quote unquote seal the deal, because she has been that kind of glue piece for this team off the bench early, and then once she inserted into the offensive the starting lineup for Jasmine Carson, she kind of held this thing together and it kind of allowed them to reach that next level. So that's really big time.
All right, let's go here. Chances to repeat. Hold up. Before we go there, shout out to this man.
That is very true. Yeah, he called it.
So Miak, you know what I'm saying? Miak star, you know what I'm saying? Because we do it, you know what I'm saying? Those of you, you know what I'm saying, who do know, we do the HBCU show. Miak star, you know what I'm saying, watching us there. He, came over here now and then. He'll watch the show. But he said it. The last show we had, he said that I was going to upset South Carolina and Angel Reese was going to lead LSU to the championship.
He sure did.
I know why he said it, because the Baltimore thing, but it don't matter. He called it. He predicted
I just hope he
it.
put some money on it.
He did. He did, because he said that. He said, yeah, I made a little, you know what I'm saying? Made a little.
So you got the chances to repeat again, right? Or to repeat or to win again. Or you talking
also
next year?
Hold on. Actually, yeah, next year. So here, Dave brought this up. We talking about Poole. She's the reason Angel Reese is here.
Partly,
yeah. So,
but yeah, partly.
Something else to think about too. So, but yeah, chance to repeat like next year. You know what I'm saying?
So what you want, like a percentage?
No. Just what you think.
I think they got a good shot. I mean, when you look around the landscape, South Carolina is losing. Zaya Cook.
The whole starting five, ain't
Boston. I don't know if it's it's pretty much it.
I know they're losing 5. I don't know if it's the starting.
I think one of them off the bench though. But yeah, they're losing a lot. I know they're gonna reload, but still, that's a lot.
Oh yeah.
Caitlin Clark will be back at Iowa, but they're losing the post player and the Warnock chick. I can't pronounce the post player's name, so I'm not no disrespect, I just can't pronounce it.
Hold on.
But they're losing both of them. Stanford is losing Brink and Haley Jones and someone else. So
hold on. You talking about Zanano?
Yeah, I can't pronounce. Yeah, her. But and then UConn is UConn, but they're not the same UConn. So I mean, when you look at it, that dude is crazy.
Stanford, maybe
they're losing Brink and Jones. They're losing their 2 best players. And so when you look at LSU, who's bringing back? When you look at, like I said, LSU bringing back obviously their best player, Angel Reese. They're bringing back their 3rd best player in Flage, possibly 3rd best player in Flage. They're bringing back pretty much their entire bench. I know Jasmine Carson's gone, but pretty much the entire bench. And then you let like my guy says, where'd the comment go? They're bringing in a top 10 recruiting class.
Oh yeah, you talking about Jerome? He says if all the pieces stay together, great chance to repeat with the recruitments is great.
Yeah, I mean you're gonna have a top 10 recruiting class.
Yeah,
I mean you already do. You
Michaela,
that's what I'm saying.
There Rosario,
and then you got her teammate. You know what I mean? She's the point guard. I can't remember her name. Yeah, King. And so you got a great class coming in, and you pretty much replace everybody that you're losing. And if it's a big if, but if you can get the transfer from Virginia Tech to replace Alexis Morris, you have got to be the favorite at this point, because you replace Alexis Morris and everybody else who you lost, you arguably replace them with better talent. Like, no disrespect to Jasmine Carson and LaDeja, but Michaela Williams is no one playing in the country. Aaliyah Del Rosario is a top 10 player in the country. You know what I mean? Like, they're an upgrade talent wise. So I mean, it's no disrespect, but I mean, I think LSU was getting better.
From what I did see, I forgot what I was just going to say. I was going to say, yeah, you were talking about LSU getting better. Yeah, I don't see them losing anybody. I don't see. There are some things they want. One thing I do want to see that would make this team better. Angel Reese to work on a mid-range shot.
Yeah, free throw shoot.
Yeah, she can get a mid-range shot going, because here's the thing: as dominant as she was doing it with like this that scoop layup that nobody can
She
like
need a
figure.
right hand too.
Yeah, she is.
But yeah, I mean, she
got a lot, like the her ceiling.
It's ridiculous.
It's so ridiculous right now. So, but yeah,
I think Miak probably, that's kind of what my number was gonna be at.
okay.
I was gonna say about 60% chance that they win it.
He said because
I
LSU
think,
is
I
young
think
and
they definitely
experienced.
the prohibited favorite next year for sure.
He said because LSU is young and experienced, I give them a 70% chance to repeat. They'll be the prohibitive favorite going into next year. Speaking of that, I'm glad. That's what I was trying to. I couldn't remember the early, way too early top 25. If I'm not mistaken, when I was looking at it, here it is. ESPN's way too early top 25. UConn at 1, Utah at 2, LSU at 3, Iowa at 4, Indiana at 5, UCLA at 6, South Carolina at 7.
I mean,
I don't know if I agree.
I mean, as of right now, obviously the portal and shit hasn't happened, and that'll change that drastically, I think. But I mean, we'll see. I think nobody gave LSU a shot this year to win it all. You know what I mean? So even if they are number 4 or 3 or 4 next year, I'd kind of like that. You know what I mean? You're the defending champion and you ain't got the target on your back. So I'd be kind of cool with that. But I will say this. If they don't win it next year, it won't be too long before they win another one, though. They're not gonna be down long. They got too much time.
Jay Wood says India Rogers from Oregon is a name to watch as well. Said best friends with Angel Reese from Dallas, played guard.
If we can kill, man, hey, don't
listen, don't get me excited.
Yeah, for real.
Don't get me excited.
But I will say, like, nobody gave LSU a chance this year, you know, especially with their non-conference schedule. Yeah. You know what I mean? They were criticized for being ranked number 2 and ranked number 3 in the country times, and people were throwing shade. Yeah, that LSU, you know what I mean? All that kind of stuff. So that's why I went in the title that. Because, yeah, that LSU, the same LSU y'all didn't think had a chance. The same LSU y'all was saying played a soft tissue schedule and was overrated when they lost to South Carolina. That same LSU are now national champions. So shout out to them and shout out to everybody who didn't believe.
I do want to address something because I heard somebody else talk about it. Them being ranked number 3 for a turn or being a 3 seed in the tournament. People was like, yeah, that's why they shouldn't have been ranked number a 3 seed. Well, no, I think they were properly. I think they were properly ranked.
They wouldn't have had the same path. And I'm not saying they wouldn't have won it, but I'm just saying, like, it's about matchups and who you play and when you play them. You know what I mean? And I think that if they would have had a different seed, it might have been a different result. Mm-hmm. That's true. That's true.
Listen. Let's go there. All right. So we do know about the backlash and stuff with the you can't see me celebration, the point to the ring finger and stuff. We're not gonna stay here long because I do want to say this. I'm gonna go ahead and announce it now. Tomorrow night we're doing a different kind of episode for HBCU out. Hold on, let me get it up here so people can see. It's gonna be a different kind of episode tomorrow night. With everything going on, the comments that have been made, the criticism, we're gonna do an episode that's gonna talk about the dog whistles and the coded language in sports, not just along the race lines, but also along the gender lines or sex lines, however you want to look at it. So tomorrow episode, It's gonna be called Super Woke. A lot of y'all, well, I ain't gonna say a lot of y'all. Let me rephrase that. Some people aren't going to be happy with the conversation, but it's a conversation that needs to be had. We're gonna have a panel with 2 other podcasts. And so it's going to definitely be a much needed conversation just to talk about some stuff and point out some things that I don't think people really get. For those of you who always say woke or whatever, oh, that's being woke, we're going to talk about that. We're going to define it for you so you understand that the way it's being portrayed or used in the news or by, political parties is not true. But anyway, back to today at hand.
So back about them being villains, I think a lot of that is going to come from the Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark situation.
Yeah, and that's what Mr. Como says. They're the new villains, and he did correct. Say because I guess he got an English teacher. Over there checking them because he said he put the correct thing. He said they're the new villains, also going into next season. Absolutely right.
And I think it stems from Angel Reese, but at the same time, I think they'll be the villains when it comes from we're talking about fan bases and how fan bases view them. But I don't know if the players for opposing teams look at them with the same eye as fans do. Because we saw Caitlin Clark come out and say she doesn't think that Angel Reese should be criticized, yet her fan base obviously feels like Angel Reese should be criticized. So I feel like the players aren't going to necessarily view them as much as villains, but fan bases will. And how do the players react to that? Do they embrace it like Mr. Como said? Or do they kind of fold under the pressure? With this team and the way that they, carry themselves and the way they built, I think they don't mind being a villain. I mean, if you look at the shirts that they're wearing right now at their parade, a lot of the players got buttons that say "You can't see me." I mean, they embrace it. If you look unapologetically
them, character behavior is a reflection of leadership. Kim Mulkey don't give a damn what you think.
Well, she said it at the press after the game. She said a lot of coaches don't want personalities. You know what I mean? She said she embraced the person. Hell, Kim Mulkey was a personality. Like, if we want to be real about it, look at what she wears. Look at how she talks. Look at her demeanor, everything about it. She's a personality. When she played, I know she was little cute little girl pigtails or whatever you want to call it. No, she was fiery. She was passionate. She talked noise, and she played like her team plays. And so, like you said, attitude reflect leadership. It does. And that's why her team isn't scared to show their personality, because their head coach isn't scared to show her personality.
So I do want to I'm gonna throw this out there again. We're gonna talk more about a lot of this tomorrow. And we have been saying on this show for a while, we will talk about how Angel Reese has been treated, whether it being left off certain awards, whether it be people remarking about her on the court, I'll say theatrics, whether saying, hey, they've called her ghetto. They've called her classless. Said some things that say it's just it's bad for the unbecoming, things like that.
Unladylike. That's the
unladylike.
Most.
Dawn Staley kind of forewarned about a lot of it. On Saturday, I think it was Saturday when she talked about it. No, Friday night in the press conference. Post-game press conference, she talked about something, the language being used towards South Carolina, and people thought that she was being a sore loser. It's the same thing that people were saying about Angel Reese, but a lot of LSU fans didn't embrace it. They thought it was just, because they don't like Dawn Staley.
Yeah.
Now when it finally came to the, to the forefront, and it was national news about one of our own, a lot of fans changed their tune. We have, and I'll say this for those of you watching, y'all know we have no problem when it comes to talking about race. We'll talk about different stuff and bring it up. We've been called woke. Again, people don't know the true or can't define it. But anyway, we've been called woke. We've been told we play the race card. We bring up race too much. Everything's always about race. But then when stuff like this happens and other podcasts mention, hey, y'all wouldn't treat Angel Reese like this if she was a black woman. Then now all of a sudden people are starting to see it. I'm like, you know what? Maybe they're right. Maybe they were on to something. We've lost far. We see people drop off, stop watching and stuff. I don't care about that part. But it's funny to me that all of a sudden now you see it.
I mean, yeah. There's a couple ways you can look at it.
Mm-hmm.
You can look at it like it's easy to deny when it doesn't affect you. You know what I mean? But now there's one of your players who getting the backlash. You know what I mean? You're a little more cognizant of it. And there's, some people who I think just kind of want to believe it don't exist. You know what I mean? And almost like out of sight, out of mind type deal. If I don't see it, hear no evil, speak no evil type.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's kind of a little bit of that to a certain extent. But now they realize that you can't just, ignore a situation and it doesn't exist anymore. And so I think that that some of these fans, I want to try to give them the benefit of the doubt and not be that just, all of these people are just turning the blind eye to it because they don't care about, like, oh, it's Alabama play, it is what it is, but when it's LSU player, oh, I'm going to care now. I want to give some, like, people a benefit of the doubt and say that not everybody is doing that. That, you know what I'm saying? Some people just are trying to act like it doesn't exist because they don't want to have to deal with it. And I don't think that there actually is. I don't think it's as a negative, you know what I'm saying, for some people as it is for others. But like I say, we're not stupid enough to believe that it doesn't exist, and we're not ignorant enough to believe that people don't perpetuate it.
Yeah.
But what I'm gonna say is having conversations about situations like this is what needs to happen. You know what I mean? Like, you need to have the conversation so that people can learn and people can realize that, whenever these things are brought up, you can't just dismiss it because you don't agree with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's the biggest thing we have to kind of come to a realization of.
Yeah. Like I said, the whole point of when we started this was to give y'all a different perspective.
Yeah.
I truly hope that, some things we've said, people can look at it and be like, you know what? I see what they're saying now. You know what I'm saying? If you can look at it and be like, oh, I didn't know that. I didn't think of that like that. That's a different point of view. That's a win for me. That's a win for us. So
Mr. Como said if Angel did that to Boston, then no one would have said anything. That's true. And also, if Caitlin Clark would have did it to Angel Reese, no one would have said anything. And so, like, I don't want to just try to make it look like we just picking on, Caitlin Clark here.
Caitlin Clark, she has caught a lot of strays. She didn't caught a lot of strays.
She has caught a lot of strays, and I don't think that's necessarily her. You know what I'm saying? It's not her fault for. She didn't ask for any of this. You know what I mean? But I just feel like I'm not picking on Caitlin Clark when I say it, but Caitlin Clark would have been able to get away with it. It's not Caitlin Clark's fault that she would have been able to get away with it. She's just beneficiary of the, of the systems put in place that allows her to benefit from it while everyone else gets demonized for it. Yeah. So, I mean, I think people are unnecessarily criticizing her when she's just a beneficiary. She's not the problem.
Yeah. Man, but I do want to say, if you go back and look, and like we talked about, or somebody said, I think it was Mr. Como said, it's more so in the media where this quote unquote beef is. If you look, Alexis Morris, prior to stuff happening with South Carolina, she was excited to meet Caitlin Clark. Don't worry, Nick, we're gonna talk about that. But she was excited to meet You know what I'm saying? Kayla Clark. Angel Reese was excited. You know what I'm saying? She's played against them already. For people don't realize, with her being at Maryland being in the Big Ten, she's faced off against Caitlin Clark. This will be the third time. She was hurt.
No, she played.
She played. Oh, she played. So she 4-0 against her.
She 4-0.
Okay. So, yeah. And Leslie Dupree brings up a good one. Says it looked like it was only the old men that had a problem with it. So that's true.
And that's what I was gonna say about the media. I don't know how much of the media is gonna vilify LSU because the women's basketball media is a lot different than the men's basketball media. The men's basketball media, you have the Dick Vitale, Bill Walton, Jay Billis, you have the older guy. With women's basketball media, you got a lot of young women and you got a lot of former players who aren't necessarily going to view things the same way. So I don't know how much of them are going to vilify LSU. They might vilify them for other reasons, but not for that.
You know what? That's something else I wanted to bring up. It was a lot of to talk about the old men. It was a lot of old men who was like, who had problems and made comments. I thought y'all was from the toughest generation. Y'all from that generation where you walk 5 miles uphill in the snow going both ways.
And I thought y'all didn't watch women's basketball because they're supposed to be in the kitchen making y'all sandwiches and stuff. Like, why was y'all even watching the game? You know what I mean? Like,
that's what kills me about that. Y'all the toughest generation. Y'all softer than wet toilet paper. That's what I'll say.
They're the real flakes, snowflakes.
Real snowflakes. You know what I'm saying?
But, hey, shout out to
okay, boomers.
Boy, you funny. But I say this too though. While we're on the topic of women's basketball, shout out to these young women, both Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Flage. Flage especially, she got a lot of the music world wanting to tune in to women's basketball. But and I'm not trying to dismiss our LSU players, but I'm really finna focus on the championship game. But the most viewed women's basketball game, that's pretty remarkable, bro.
What if I'm not mistaken?
9.9 million. It was more viewed than the men's also. But
I was gonna say the most viewed basketball game all season, men, women, NBA too.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So 9.9 million views. I think it peaked at like 12 million views or something like that.
Crazy.
So I mean, a lot of people tuning in who claim that they don't watch women's basketball. So I'm just trying to figure out what when y'all gonna come out and just admit that women's basketball is better than men's basketball. Especially at the college level.
George said this old boomer knows what's up. Not you, George. You all right with it.
And you cool as not book, George. But you got a lot of people who claim they don't watch women's basketball and this, that, and the other, but y'all surely tuned in for that. And I bet you didn't tune in Monday night. So just can we go ahead and admit that the women's college game is better than the men's college game? Can we finally admit that? Because it's been that way for some years now.
Yes. Let's you know what I'm saying. I'm trying to think.
We got the Nick thing.
Yeah. I do want to talk about that for a quick minute. Nick said should also talk about Jill Biden inviting losers to the White House. That would not have happened if LSU lost. I agree. It wouldn't have. I want to give the benefit of the doubt because I wanted to, but I'm gonna say it like this. Somebody said to me, Dr. Biden, Jill, you got to read the room. The optics of it alone look horrible. Look completely horrible. It looks like you were like, oh my God, these poor young white ladies. We gotta invite them. Joe, they were good though. They've been so good. You ought to invite them too. That's what it seems.
Harris voice. Joe, Jill done lost her mind, Joe. Jill done lost her mind, Joe. She did it, Joe. She lost her mind, Joe. Yeah. Ain't no way in hell should Iowa have been even. And I know that the White House came out and clarified that they're not really getting an official invite. And Caitlin Clark says she don't want to go under those circumstances anyway. But it should have never came to that. And how long they've been doing this? 100 and some years they've been bringing champions to the White House. Ain't never, ever been the runner-up come. So, I mean, my boy Julian watching the show. Whenever Texas Western beat Kentucky, I'm pretty sure that Pat Riley and them didn't go to the White House anyway, just because the polar white guys lost to the all-black team. You know what I mean? So in this situation, the polar white girls who lost to the all-black team don't need to go either. And I'm not trying to make a race, but I mean that's the way it comes across when you invite the losing team.
The optics
and
of it look like.
And like you said, and like Nick said, if LSU would have lost, would you have invited them? No. And I give you another reason why she wouldn't have. Because of your head coach and the politics of your head coach. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's almost like you like read the room, first of all. And not only just that, like Leslie Dupree said, stay in your lane. You coming to watch the game, that's it. Ain't nobody ask you about who you want to
all you could have said.
Nobody asked you about that. Just come watch the game like everybody.
This has been a great game. Both teams, deserve to be here. But LSU came out on top, and congratulations. Boom. End of story. Facts over opinions.
And you could have said, I wish I could bring both teams, you know what I'm saying? And not say, yeah, I'm gonna try to bring both teams. You know what I mean? Like, just say I wish I could bring both teams because both teams played their heart out. But unfortunately, only one team can win. So LSU, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's ways you could have said.
That's another thing. You talked about this too. An off mic conversation. They tried to cover up by saying I was a swing state for the upcoming election. Don't stop using these kids for your political
that's
points.
All it is, though, bro.
I get it, you know what I'm saying, but come on, man. Come on, man.
And that's why she visited their locker room and stuff, bro. Like, you know.
Well, they said, LSU was like, nah, don't come here because y'all ain't even pick us to make it out of Baton Rouge in the bracket.
That's part of it, but the other part of it is we're not politicizing this.
Yeah, that's true. I don't blame them. Come see us after the game. I understood. Kamala Harris going to the Howard. She went to Howard. I understand that, but she went after the game. She didn't go before the game.
But that wasn't a national championship game either.
Yeah, that's true too. Jay Wood said, "At this point, would you be against going? Period." This is
players trying to go kick it with Obama.
Yeah, they're trying to. You know what I'm saying? They were talking about President Obama. Now, I do want to say this.
I think you got to go though.
I think you do too. You should. Angel Reese said the team's not going, but LSU athletic department came out and said the team is going.
I think you go. And you just go and you make me as proud as you can. And you be as petty as possible.
Yeah,
be as petty as possible. I go in there and I be wearing Iowa jerseys. Everybody go wear Caitlin Clark jerseys. Since y'all want an Iowa here so bad, we brought them to y'all.
That's funny. Man, let's talk before we, get up out of here, man. Let's talk a little baseball real quick. Alexis Morris threw out the first pitch last night for this team.
I almost said something.
For the baseball team. Somebody said she should be the
added to the rotation.
Added to the rotation. She should be the Sunday starter.
I was gonna say that,
but she threw out the first pitch, man. They did recognize the women's team, man. I do want to say that everybody on campus has been very supportive of this team. Before we move on from that, I gotta check. If I'm not mistaken, gymnastics is fighting.
They won the tiebreaker over Michigan.
So gymnastics is also doing their thing, man. So shout out to them ladies. And also,
team.
I was just gonna say we don't talk about the softball team enough on here, but they are 30-6 on the season.
Shout out.
31-6, excuse me, on the season, man. Beltorino, who her job has been.
I give her a lot of flack, but she's showing up in what I consider to be a make or break season. She's definitely making the most of it this year.
Yeah. So, but last weekend we hadn't talked to y'all since, but LSU took on Tennessee, took the series, but they got humbled big time in game 3.
Yeah, baseball a funny game, man. I know a lot of LSU fans talking big cash money stuff on Friday night. And yes, it can be tricky, brother. It could be tricky. You can run rule somebody, and then the next day you get run ruled, and that almost happened to LSU. They didn't get run ruled, but it was close. It was close. But I still think they're in a good spot. Obviously, all that matters is you won the series. You took care of your midweek last night. You got another top 10 matchup. It seems like every week you got a top 10 matchup. This time on the road at South Carolina. We talked about it a little bit last time on the show. The small confines of South Carolina might do bode well for the bats for LSU, but main concern for this team right now is this rotation, especially the back half of the starting rotation. So we'll see, but I think they'll definitely be able to win the series. But
let me get Skeens and Edwards on Friday, Thursday night, because this series does start on Thursday night because Easter is Sunday. So let me get Skeens and Edwards on Thursday, Ty Floyd and somebody on Friday, and then Christian Little's gonna start on Saturday. But let me Johnny Holstaff that thing and get through it. Right now you're on pace to be a 20-10 conference in the conference. So yeah.
Which is good, but I think this team a little better than that. I think this team is better than that, and I think they'll finish better than 20-10.
Yeah, because they once you get past South Carolina, you got Kentucky, who's been decent. Ole Miss has been horrible. Alabama has been Alabama in baseball.
You're gonna get a sweep in there, a couple sweeps in there.
So, and you don't play Vanderbilt, which Vanderbilt has been terrible. I mean, no, let me correct that. Vanderbilt has been winning, but Vanderbilt hadn't played nobody.
They haven't been Vanderbilt, though.
Yeah, and they hadn't played nobody.
Yeah, I think LSU will finish the conference somewhere around 23-7.
I like that. Jay Wood says, I think Gavin Guidry did pretty good, and the other freshman. Yeah, Guidry's been surprisingly well, in my opinion, because I was expecting to come out and be a infield player more than a pitcher, but he's done well. But I do want to say, because we just talked about the win 2, lose 1. LSU fans have not, seems like they're not happy with just winning the series anymore. They want sweeps.
It's the expectations they have for this team, and on one hand, I get it. You shouldn't go into a series just being content with winning the series 2-1. You should go into every series trying to sweep the series. However, I don't feel like going 2-1 on the weekend deserves to be met with criticism and the melting that we've seen from fans.
You went 2-1 against number 11. You went 2-1 against number 6. You went 2-1 against it says number 11. I guess they're number 11 now. I don't know, Texas A&M.
Yeah, Texas A&M, they rank pretty high now.
Yeah, they weren't ranked in, but saying it's still a top rank. You literally
the team though, obviously.
You have literally opened the season with 3 ranked SEC opponents, and you've went 2 or 3 out of them. Now in this one against South Carolina, who is number 6, if you go 2-3 and win against South Carolina, you better
that's what I'm saying. Like sometimes
quit your blood clot crying.
It's baseball. You're not gonna sweep everybody. I mean, we've seen that anybody could beat anybody. You got Elon beating Wake Forest the other night. You know what I mean? Like anybody could beat anybody. So I think the fact that you're just winning every series should be enough. And then, even if you lose a game, like take this Tennessee game, like what was the run differential for the series? Not close. You know what I mean? So just because you lost one game doesn't mean that it's a big deal. I mean, you dominated them other games.
Actually, the Tennessee series run differential.
Not Tennessee.
Arkansas.
Yeah, that's the one.
Arkansas was. Let's look. I'm looking at it. You got 20.
The Arkansas won the first game by 3.
29. No, they won it by 6. It was 9-3. But still, even with that, so LSU scored, let's see, 26-29. Arkansas scored 11-16. So it was 16. So you 29-16. So
13 run difference, but you lost one game. You know what I mean? So
that's 11-6, and then 18.
Like
18.
They almost run ruled Arkansas twice. That's right.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, 18-20. So yeah. But anyway, man, that's just I just find it crazy. Let me ask you this. This weekend against South Carolina. South Carolina has 2 left-handed pitchers.
I need to see us rake.
And a small ballpark.
I think this is one that Grambling game helps you. Not because of what you saw as far as the stuff from the pitchers, but what, getting hits off left-handed pitchers did for you mentally. I think you'll see that carry over and translate into this game.
Yeah. All right. Let me ask you this question. All right. Joe Burrow, Alexis Morris, Angel Reese.
Mm-hmm.
All transfers that came in to help your program win the national championship.
Mm-hmm.
Will Jaden Daniels and Paul Skeens be the next transfers that lead LSU to Natties?
Okay, for Jaden Daniels, I think you can say his name individually. But for Paul Skeens, I think you got to throw in Tommy Tanks at least.
That's fine. Yeah, I throw in Tanks.
You know what I'm saying? You at least, and I know there's more. There's
plenty more.
But I think them two are the ones you definitely got to throw in there. That's a tough one. So you basically asking me, can both of them win that championship?
Can these transfers will they be the next transfers? Basically, is baseball gonna win a natty this year, and football gonna win one? I know it's early to say.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what you're saying.
It's too early. It's gonna happen, but it's too early to say.
I think baseball has a better chance right now.
Okay, that's fair. Is it just because you know what you got with baseball because you've seen it?
Partly. That's part of it. But I know it's hard to win in both sports. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But football, you lose one game sometimes, and that's all that.
That's true. It depends on which game you lose.
Yeah, that's true too. You know what I'm saying? But you slip up one time in football, and that could cost you your shot. Whereas baseball, you got a little bit more wiggle room. So I go with them.
I will say this: if LSU beats Florida State in Game 1, you can book. I truly do believe. You might want to start.
I'm not talking this early. Okay. I hear what you're saying, and I'm not going to say that's not outlandish, but I can't talk. I got to see the spring game. I got to see the spring game.
Yeah, and people are going to be like, what are you talking about? Florida State is the toughest game on your schedule. And it's not just because it's the next one.
It's not too far-fetched.
Because if
it's not too far-fetched.
If you beat Florida State, you can suffer a loss to Alabama. And possibly still make a run in the SEC.
I think it's possible that if you lose to Alabama, you can still make the playoffs. Mm-hmm. But I also think you could lose to Alabama, and if you don't lose any other SEC games, possibly still make the SEC championship game.
It don't matter if you lose to Florida State, though.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying.
No, I get what you're saying. I'm just saying. Yeah. I'm just saying. If you lose to Florida State, then it's pressure the entire rest of the season.
I don't know, because I think Florida State gonna win the ACC.
I agree. But
so
if you lose to Florida State,
if you have a loss to the ACC championship, if you have a loss to the ACC champion, though, that's a good loss.
Yeah, but every game after that is now a playoff game. Because you can't lose another one.
Depends on.
You cannot lose another one. You're going to have another chaotic ending like last year in order for that to happen. And you're going to have to.
So let's say you lose. Let's say you lose to. I'm not gonna say Florida. Hell no. Let's say you lose to A&M again.
Okay.
But you make SC championship and you beat Georgia. Even with 2 losses, you're getting in.
Okay. But you still, the way I look at it.
But you're not wrong. Every other game will be a must-win game.
Yeah, it's a must-win.
But I still think it's possible.
At that point, that you play Texas A&M, you've already beaten Bama. So you at this point, you pretty much probably have already locked up the SEC West.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's possible that you could.
I'm not saying it's impossible, but all I'm saying is Florida State.
I'm with you. That's the linchpin game, but I don't think it's if you lose that game, you don't have a shot to playoffs.
Oh no. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm just saying.
Yeah, that game changes. It makes every other game a must win to keep your playoffs alive, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'm with you.
We ain't do an altar call.
We got to do an Alley Boy question before we finish.
What was Alley Boy question? What I missed?
Oh,
men's basketball. Alley Boy, my apologies. Men's basketball news. Big pickup today. Jordan Wright transfer from Vanderbilt.
We mentioned
Baton Rouge native.
I don't remember what show it was. We talked about bringing the Brian Kelly approach. We talked about it, bringing back the former players who from this area who got away. We talked about that.
Jalen Cook, you on the clock? Let's come on.
Jalen Cook is trending.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you somebody else. I said that if they came back, they're back in the portal. If they came back, I think would fit this offense.
Big Efton
Reed.
You think he goes to McNeese?
I don't know. Oh, that is with Will Wade. I don't know. I tell you what,
that's an ego hit, big dog.
Yeah, I think if he comes back to LSU though, I think he fit that Will Wade. He gonna have to get more aggressive.
He fit that McMahon system for sure, but I just don't think it's happening.
Yeah, he got it. He gonna have to get. I don't know if he's learning any toughness from being sitting behind Timmy. But
Timmy. Hey, you know what? So we talked about Timmy being. I know this is just random. We talked about Timmy being international because he's not gonna make it in the league, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he's gonna be good international because I don't know how good he could be without traveling. He travels on almost every post move he makes, and they're not letting you slide with that over there. So that's just I don't know.
I know another one, last one, and we can get up out of here on this one. Alexis Morris first round.
Hey, easily. I mean, can you name 14 better?
I can't.
Or 12 better? However many in the draft. I mean, I don't see that.
I think what you saw that clutch. It's hard.
Who's going number one though? That's the question. Aaliyah Boston, Cameron Brink.
Might be Brink.
What's your girl from
Boston?
Boston was from Georgia. Diamond.
I know you're talking about. I just don't know her name.
I want to say Diamond Miller, but I don't think that's right. I don't know. It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah. But all right. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. All right, man. We're gonna be back. We'll be back. I don't know if we're gonna do Sunday or not.
I don't know, bro. It's Easter, bro.
It is Easter, man.
I might be full and halfway drunk by that time.
Yeah, I might be full too.
We'll see. We'll let y'all know. But make sure y'all tune in tomorrow. That's
definitely
what y'all need to be here for.
Definitely tune in. Great conversation going to be had on tomorrow. What is what I'm looking for? I don't see it up here. Did I not add that? Oh well, we'll go out to something else though. But we'll be back sometime. Appreciate y'all tuning in like that. We out. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe on Twitter at Golden Boot. On Instagram at Golden Boot.
On YouTube at The Golden Boot Pod. On Facebook at The Golden Boot Pod.
Golden